Well, hello, Emily. I'm so glad to be with you today. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to talk with me a little bit about what you do and share some of your well-being wins.
Awesome. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me today. Thank you for all the inquiry in what I do and for writing this for us, for all the readers.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. It's great to be here. I'm Debbie Woodruff. I am with Breakthrough Wellbeing with Lake Norman Connect doing an article, WellBEing Wins. I'm here to talk with Emily at KNC Therapy. She is a fully certified yoga therapist and also certified as a yoga teacher, 500 hours of certification, in fact. So I would like to introduce you to her and the services that she provides, and also allow her to share with you a couple of her well-being wins that can enhance your life. So, Emily, let's start from the top. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, my name is Emily Boothe. I'm with KNC Therapy, as she said, and I'm a yoga therapist certified through CIAYT. I have my own business as a therapist, and I see clients on a regular basis. And most of the things that I do is for not just the mental, but the physical, intellectual, spiritual, and emotional side of therapy. And one of the well-being things that I enjoy doing is seeing clients one-on-one. As well as clinical opportunities and group therapy. And I really enjoy what I do and hold the space for others.
Awesome. So you love to hold space for others. Excellent. How did you find yoga therapy?
Personal experiences over time is kind of where we find our passion and our niche in life. And I started off as a corporate administrator and executive assistant for a large RV company in Indiana. And as life progressed, I found more of myself. And one of my favorite sayings is Boothe, which is know thyself. And so the more I understood myself, the more I grew inside as well as the external. And that's kind of just cohesively come together. And my yoga itself and practice just started off with sports and has evolved to today.
Excellent. How did you find yoga therapy?
I love how the working mind works.
Okay.
So yoga therapy and yoga psychology was very intriguing to me, and how the mind operates. And then the cohesive part and the collaborative community part is the people, for sure. And then the heart space. And the physical aspect really drew me to the therapy side. So yoga therapy includes all of it. It's more of a holistic approach. So I really was drawn to all the modalities that it entails.
Awesome. Well, tell me a little bit about how you like to help your clients. Can you give me a little bit of an idea? What is yoga therapy to you?
Yoga therapy to me, and actually yoga is the yoking and union of so many aspects of our life. And so yoga therapy to me is integration of all of the aspects, the holistic part of yourself. Dealing with the mind, the emotion, the physical, and how we put those things together and holding space for a client is so important. And when a client comes to us, the uniqueness of holding that space for them is different for every time they come in. And so when I meet with clients, I actually put a program together in the toolbox for them to be able to use these things on and off the mat. So as a yoga therapist, it's not just about the asanas or the postures on the mat. It's that holistic approach that we take out into the world and actually integrate those things all together.
Awesome.
And we really focus on coming back to the authentic self, because it's already right inside of us. We just damper it so much.
So let's go into that. Let's talk about a couple of well-being wins. If you could share with our readers, how can they learn from you to put something in their life that will enhance their well-being? So
I come back to know thyself.
Okay.
The more that we know ourselves and the thinking mind, and how that transpires into our internal world and our external world, from relationships to relationship to ourselves, and relationships when we talk to one another. And then that goes through the subtle energy of the body as well. So when we move the body in yoga therapy and the asana practice, we are taking that subtle energy and moving that through, which also supports the thinking mind. So when we think of knowing ourselves, we have to know how the mind operates, how the body operates, and then how those things work together. And then integrating the spiritual side too of choice.
Absolutely. So tell me this, you keep referencing thinking mind. Let's expound on thinking mind for just a moment. What do you mean?
So thinking mind is what is happening in the head on a regular basis. Are we in a lot of story?
Okay.
Are we ruminating in the story? Are we continuing to rehearse the same thing over and over again. When we're doing that, we're reinforcing what is actually happening externally.
So what you're saying, the thinking mind is really our conscious brain, like what we're conscious of.
We can reframe our thoughts in a way that is holistically and healthy, and I consider that a well-being win.
Where you like to provide a well-being win is to help address the thinking mind in a way that is more holistic to bring somebody into their authentic self. Is that,
Yes.
does that summarize things pretty well?
Absolutely. And connecting the body with all of that. So that, there's so many pieces to this.
Yeah, I know we could talk for hours and days. I know all about what this entails. So go back in, you said what you think you become. So let's go back to that rumination piece that you mentioned. You talked about rumination. And let's talk about a couple of well-being wins, because I will guarantee you that I have been caught in the trap of rumination.
I as well.
So, yeah, and it's something that really takes a lot of energy, and it isn't forwarding. It keeps us stuck.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a little bit about the well-being win around rumination, and then, let's start there.
Yeah. So rumination is that looping and coming back to the exact same thought process on a regular basis. So there's all kinds of somatic things we can do with our body. There is placing the tongue on the back of the teeth just below where the skin starts to touch. And that actually, it actually is a focal point for multiple things, for rumination, for anxiety. And it brings that one-pointed center focus, but on a physical aspect in the mouth itself. So that's just a physical, very subtle thing you can do that's off your mat in the world and nobody can see it. It's just something you do. And you breathe through that, and that focus brings it back to the mouth. And then breathe through it again, and it brings it back to the body. So so many tools.
Awesome. So somatic, define that.
There are so many definitions of this. Somatic to me is felt sense.
Felt sense. Okay. What the breathing would look like.
Breathing would look like, more so breathing what would it feel like?
Okay, we'll go with that. Yeah.
So look like we've kind of talked about, feel like we've also talked about. But we want to elongate into the spine. So as far as posture, you want to sit up as tall as you possibly can, comfortable enough so nothing falls asleep. And then to center yourself as going inward, and that is withdrawal of the senses, closing the eyes, listening to some sort of white noise or kind of honing in of what's coming through the ears, and then breathing through the felt sense in the body. Hands might be doing something particular. In yoga, we call mudras, but we don't have to do anything particular yoga-wise. It can just be hands in a comfortable position. And then we breathe through that. And that breathing, one of my favorite things to do is a box breathing, but I actually do it in the shape of a heart.
Oh, I like that.
And so you're coming back to heart coherence as well, because you're visualizing the shape of a heart. So as you breathe in, you're visualizing with eyes closed behind the eyelids, this 4-count breath, and you come down to the middle of the heart. And then you breathe in again. And so as you come down to the point, that's 4 counts, 2 on each side, and you're rounding the corners, right? So you're bringing all of this together in one small practice. The physical, the mental, emotional, and spiritual.
I like that. That's a wonderful
Kinda nice,
way.
isn't it?
Yeah. Well, what else, or is there anything else that you want to share? So you talked about rumination. We talked about a somatic practice that can help people ground and interrupt rumination. So, but just by doing that practice that Emily defined, we can interrupt that thought pattern, which allows us to make a different choice, take a different path.
Absolutely.
You talked about what we think we become. Do you want to expound on that before we close our time together?
Yeah. So what we think we become, the powerful process of the thoughts can be practiced just like any practice, just like athletes, just like chefs, anything that they practice and find this discipline. And so becoming aware of our thought process is the first step.
Yeah.
What are we actually thinking?
Yeah.
And then why are we thinking that?
Yeah.
How are we thinking that? And most importantly, what do we want to do with that thinking pattern?
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I think that's so important. So first step is awareness. And then secondly, then ask yourself, what do I want to do with this thought?
Yeah.
Is this thought serving me? And if it isn't, how can you change it?
Yeah.
What happens when I ask those questions?
So you're actually coming out of yourself and looking at yourself and having the opportunity to say, I have a choice here. And the choice, what is that choice going to be? When we do rumination and think of the thinking mind, often we get into a pattern where we're not really aware. It's a habit. And then the habit creates other things, and sometimes actually creates dis-ease, not actual disease, but a imbalance in our body, because we're continuing to think about either the same negative thing or the same looping pattern. And actually what we think we become goes back to what manifestation, just a little bit, but it's a little deeper. What we think we become is the opportunity to go and have those desires, but also looking at the thinking mind and saying, okay, am I really supporting that desire with the patterns of the way I'm thinking?
Yeah.
And then in the thinking process, are my actions following up with the pattern of the thinking mind to get the desired results that I'm actually looking for?
Yeah.
So it's really going back to knowing yourself and figuring out, and the ultimate question in the end is asking yourself, what do you really want?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Reminds me of, what was his name? Scott, that wrote The Road Less Traveled. Scott Peck,
Yes.
who wrote The Road Less Traveled. We have choices. And the first step is recognizing that we actually have a choice.
And we're so in automation mode right now and continuing to repeat what we're doing, that coming to stillness and really reflecting on what we desire is the most important.
It is. It can feel scary.
And
It can really
a lot of
honestly-
times people don't know what they want.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing your well-being wins. I think it was helpful to me and will be helpful to the people who listened and watched this video. So thank you for being here. Thank you for caring about your well-being enough to listen for the well-being wins that benefit your life and allow you to get where you really want to go. All right, thank you so much. Emily, I do have one last question. How can people find you?
KNCtherapy.com is my website. And feel free to inquire and read there, and you'll get my contact information from there. And hopefully we'll be working together soon. And I appreciate everything you've done for me today and having me on.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.